We're back, people. What is up? Very heavy news day for the Miami Dolphins. I actually wasn't going to plan to stream after just the Bradley Chubb release. It's mock draft Monday. The mock draft will still be out in like an hour. It'll be out 1 Eastern. So be ready for the mock draft if you want to, are you looking for that? It'll be out soon. But yeah, I wasn't going to stream it when we released Chubb. And then I saw Tyreek Hill got released. And then Nick Westbrook-Akine and James Daniels got released. So I'm like, okay, I got to talk about it. Very heavy news day. I think most of these moves were expected. Maybe some of them were kind of 50-50. We'll go over all the details, what this potentially means. From what I'm reading, it seems like we don't know if Bradley Chubb was a pre-June 1st or designated to be a post-June 1st release, which could change the cap implications and the hit for 2027, 2026. It would change that. It also would change the amount of cap savings you would get this year, but it also would come later after post-June 1st. Tyreek Hill, it seems like, at least from my understanding, it seems like it's a pre-June 1st, so that gets you cap compliant because the Dolphins were like negative 17 million. And you save, I believe, by cutting him straight up, you get 22 million in cap savings, but it does create a 28 million dead money hit. It seems like the James Daniels, obviously, that one was unfortunate. Seems like they were doing these moves because I think by March something, I can't remember the exact date, but those numbers become like certain guaranteed numbers are hit if they're kept on the team for past like when this date starts. I think March 11th. The Daniels move seems like it's more for 2027 because it doesn't really help you at all this year, but it saves you like down the line. Nick Westbrook-Akine gets you like $1.5 million as well. Obviously, that's a move that didn't quite work out. And then Bradley Chubb. We don't know if Bradley Chubb is cut pre-June 1st, and obviously he's cut today, so he's released today. So, but you can designate 2 players to be post-June 1st releases, and then you would get that cap space post-June 1st. That's why that's like the caveat that comes with it. But if he has released pre-June 1st, you get 7 million cap savings, and it would be a 23 mil dead hit. But if it is post-June 1st, you get 20 million savings and only 10 mil dead cap. But that would go back, and some of that would be pushed back to 2027. Some of the dead money hit. So that's sort of like the caveat of that. Yeah, I'm even seeing people talking about trading. I mean, that's another thing I wanted to talk about. That I mean, it seems like John Eric Sullivan. The reports are saying he loves draft picks, and people would not be surprised if he trades down a lot. Would love that, or if he's looking to trade players. We didn't get anything for guys like Bradley Chubb or Tyreek Hill. I mean, I wasn't really expecting anything for them at this point. I'm not really expecting anything for any of the guys that are going to get released, to be honest. Kyle said Chubb was pre-June 1st. Yes, I believe Kyle said that, but Barry Jackson said not too long ago. He said 35 minutes ago, for those asking, it has not been conveyed to Chubb whether his release will come with post-June 1st designation per source. So that one is still TBD, but Barry did make it sound like Tyreek and James Daniels and Nick Westbrook-Akine were pre-June 1st. So that is something to keep of note. We don't know for sure yet with Chubb. They didn't specify with any of them. But yeah, this is the way they had to go. It obviously frees up. They had to be cap compliant. Obviously, expect definitely more moves to come because you still need to have some money to sign some people. I know the Dolphins aren't going to be super active in free agent, but like they need to fill up the roster, and you're not going to be able to fill up the roster completely with just draft picks. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. And obviously we talked about, potentially trades coming through. Seems like they're big fans of that. Wait, where did that go? Trying to find. But yeah, Tyreek was scheduled to make 36 million cash in 2026, but none of it was guaranteed. Now that's all wiped away. And then he obviously still has but then they saved 22.8 million cap space. And I believe, according to Over the Cap, they were 17 million dead cap. But I never know exactly what it is because Over the Cap and Spot Track, which are like the 2 good sites for checking cap space stuff, their numbers are always slightly different. So I don't know what the exact number ends up actually being because I think they update at different times. Oh, that's not working. And I can't get on Spot Track for some reason right now. It's lagging. But yeah, end of an era for some of these guys. To be fair, the James Daniels never even had an arrow with Miami. He had 3 games or 3 plays. And yeah, you weren't going to get anything for Tyreek with coming off that injury. You probably could have traded Chubb at the deadline, but I do think it would have been for like nothing. That's why I never had a ton of hopes there for Chubb. But yeah, the draft will be huge. Yeah. Yeah, that report was from Jay Fowler ESPN. He said the prevailing theme in league sources is new GM John Eric Sullivan loves draft picks. He's just like me, for real. I would get so many draft picks for so many players, but they don't really have many players to actually trade that I think would be worth it at this point anymore. I mean, there's probably a couple guys. But yeah, let me see what you guys are saying. Yes, Tyreek Hill released Irving, Chubb released, Nick Westbrook-Akine gone, and James Daniels. 4 released today. And they've happened quickly. Trying to see if there's been anything else reported. Obviously the Dolphins are going to try to find a trade partner for Tua. I still don't know why. I wouldn't really expect that to happen, but that would be nice. Either way, they're still gonna have to pay most of it. Yeah. See, yeah, Spot Track has this as $2 million under the cap. I don't know how they have, and then over the cap has this at negative 17 mil, but they haven't updated Tyreek Hill or Bradley Chubb or James Daniels or Nick Westbrook-Akine. I think Spot Track or OTC deducts. Yeah, that might be it. That might be what the problem is. That you're gonna love the draft this season. Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. I think if you look at the roster, the Dolphins are going to, like, John Eric Sullivan, Jeff Hafley, they're going to come in. They're going to find the guys that they like and they think are long-term pieces, and they are going to keep those guys around and try to build them into their regime, their culture. But a lot of people in the next, it's not going to all be in 1 year because you can't completely overturn a roster in 1 year. But within the next year, 2, 3, you're to see a lot of overturn. And a lot of their draft picks are going to be the guys that are like the foundation of the roster. At least that will be their vision and their plan. They still got a nail on those picks. We'll see. But they're obviously not just going to move on from some of those young guys or like the guys that are clearly very talented or some. We have, some of the best players at their positions in the league. We had second team All-Pro at center, first team All-Pro at linebacker. Achan's one of the best running backs in the league. I mean, if they get value for those players, maybe, you never know. But yeah. Wait, like cut today, or are they still maybe post June 1st just announced today? From my understanding, Alex, the only one that could be post June 1st is Chubb. It still is undecided, or it's just TBD. Because you can designate a player as post June 1st. And I think Chubb is the one that makes the most sense because his numbers go up a lot. It just depends on what they think of the 2026 cap situation. So you kind of do need to cut Tyreek pre-June 1st to be cap compliant. Because if you don't cut him pre-June 1st, you're going to be over the cap. Offense is Patrick Paul, Achane, Waddle for now. Yeah, on offense, yeah, I agree. With those 3. There's some other guys that you can find as pieces within that are on the team. I would say the rest of the players that could be sort of casualties is keep, obviously, Tua, and then keep an eye on Austin Jackson, what they're going to do there. Now, cutting Austin Jackson pre-June 1st doesn't really make a ton of sense. Like, you only save $1 million and you get $13 million dead cap. If you cut him post-June 1st, you save 11 and get 4. They also could try to trade him. I think Jackson is one of the guys that could have maybe a little bit of trade value. I mean, I don't think he'd get much, but you might be able to trade him. I also wouldn't be surprised if they keep Jackson for 1 more year. And then maybe try to find his replacements this offseason. Maybe he's a guy that's a guard that could play tackle if Jackson gets hurt. That type of thing. So I think Jackson is definitely a possibility to still be moved on from. There's also Jason Sanders. I believe if they cut Jason Sanders pre-June 1st, they save almost $4 million in cap space. That feels kind of like a no-brainer. Like, shout out Jason. He was a solid kicker throughout most of his career with Miami. I mean, but well, we can just sign anyone at this point. People are finding kickers left and right. So we're keeping Tua? No. I think I'm fairly sure Tua is still going to be gone, but I think they're seeing if there's a potential trade situation. I think they field trades for Waddle. I think they'll listen, but I don't know if I wouldn't trade Waddle unless you got like blown away. But yeah, I think they'll definitely listen. JD was a bad signing a little. I mean, honestly, I don't even know if I would say James. I mean, obviously with the injury that happened 3 plays and it's a bad signing in hindsight, but they got him for pretty dang cheap. Like a starting guard. It just he got hurt. And he got like a bicep injury or something. And we were worried about him coming off the Achilles. I mean, that's kind of tough to predict, but I don't know. They needed to take a shot on some guard and they didn't have any money, so they got a guy that was cheap and it just got a little bit unlucky there, but yeah. We need to stop taking so many shots on injured guys. For that kind of money, nobody is dumb enough to pick up that albatross of that contract. Oh, well, to be fair, Rev, when we're talking about trading Tua, we're not saying that they're going to trade for the whole contract. The Dolphins, if they do trade, will have to pay a vast majority of Tua's contract. So, like, if a team trades for Tua, they're not going to be trading for the contract. But I still don't think I still think it will be end up a release if I had to guess. Are you going to do a mock Monday? Yeah, it was already recorded. It was already going to be posted at 12 Eastern, but since these this happened, it'll be posted at 1 Eastern, Hog Dog. So mock draft will be in like 45 minutes. We would like you to trade Minka. Minka's another one who I think is still up in the air for sure. Because if you let's look at Minka's numbers actually. Because Minka's the other one that's like a pretty expensive player on the roster. If you cut him pre-June 1st, you only save about 5-6 million, and then you have 12-13 million in dead cap. If you cut him post June 1st, it's the opposite, and you get 15 mil. Why is that doing that? Why is this there? Okay, that makes no sense. But yeah, if they cut him post June 1st, they get 15 million save and only 3 mil dead cap, but that would push money back into 2027. And then a trade is the same. Trade pre June 1st, trade post June 1st is the same thing. I wouldn't mind keeping Minka because cutting and trading pre June 1st isn't like a huge savings cap wise, at least this year. You could restructure him too, but that would, there's also things there as well. Restructuring would save 10 mil. But I'm not looking. I don't think the Dolphins should be looking to restructure too much. I think that could only. I don't think that kind of hurts you in the long run. But he would probably be the only player I would even semi-consider it. What's your streaming schedule? Well, usually I stream at noon Eastern, and usually just like a couple days a week. Usually on Tuesday, maybe like Friday, Saturday. I don't really have like a set stone schedule. We've saved 3 mil. Yeah, Ingled's another good shout. That's a potential casualty. Yeah, quick recap. Tyreek Hill, Bradley Chubb, Nick Westbrook-Akine, James Daniels, all cut. It seems like Bradley Chubb is the only one that we don't know if it's post June 1st or pre June 1st, at least according to Barry Jackson. That's what he's saying. So it seems like the Tyreek Hill's pre June 1st. So we saved 22 million cap, have a 28 mil dead hit, but Dolphins should be cap compliant now. We don't know the exact numbers yet because it seems like, I mean, these sites have it slightly, they're different. So I don't know what the exact numbers is. And it also depends on if Chubb is post June 1st or pre June 1st. Because if it's pre June 1st, you get an extra 7 mil right away, but bigger dead cap money. I mean, it's post June 1st, you'll get an extra 20 mil after June 1st. Oh, dude. Um, I mean, yeah. Interesting. Trying to read if there's anything else that's happened. But yeah. No more Tyreek Hill. Oh yeah, we know. We talked about all of it. Time to remake the rosters. Remember it starts for the dawn. Yeah, we're in a restart mode. You can turn it around fairly quickly. I mean, I'm not expecting much this next year, but like we've seen teams turn it around in like 2 years. In 2027, the Dolphins are actually like cap wise, as long as they don't go try to do anything crazy in 2026, like they're actually in a situation cap wise, like they actually will need to spend money because they don't have many players to actually pay. Um, so they'll actually have to spend some money in 2027, and obviously by then you'll have 2 draft classes to work with, and by you'll have some of the still same players around. So there's a definite chance to turn things around in 2 years, but you have to do things the right way. If Down's still available at pick 11, I'm staying put. Besides that, I'm taking the best trade on offer I can get. Yeah. I mean, if it's not, it just depends on who's there and what's the trade offer, but I do agree in taking trade offers in a lot of situations. But yeah, Downs is my guy, so I will definitely take Downs. Yeah, eat the bad contracts sooner better. I agree, especially with the situation in Miami. Right, do you think you can start making videos on who you think are the top 5 guards for the draft? Yeah, I was thinking about doing videos like top 3s, top 5s, top 10s of like in streams too, of just like by position or like best fits for Miami. So I'll probably get to that some point soon. Yeah. I mean, I can tell you off the top of my head, like top 3 or 4. Let me look at the guards list, but um, I mean, I can tell you top 3 very easily actually, because top 3 is Venga Ioane, Emmanuel Pregnon, and Chase Basantis, in my opinion. Venga Ioane is Penn State, Emmanuel Pregnon is Oregon, and Chase Basantis is Texas A&M. And then after that, I think it's a discussion for who's 4 and 5. I still have to watch some more guards though. Taylor Green, your thoughts? Assuming you mean Taylor Green, the Arkansas quarterback. I mean, I don't mind taking a late round dart throw on him. To be honest, like he's a huge developmental project, has all the athletic and physical talent in the world. But man, does he struggle with some basic quarterback things like, accuracy, decision making, which are very important when it comes to playing quarterback. So he would need a lot of development there. I think he's like a late round pick, like 6th or 7th round is where he should go. He might get bumped up in this class, but I wouldn't take him. If you took him before the 5th, I think you're crazy. Can we designate Chubb or Hills post June 1st? They can, and you do get 2, but from my understanding, it seems like Hill will be pre-June 1st because they need to get cap compliant. Chubb is still undecided. What about offensive tackles? Honestly, actually I've been liking the offensive tackle class more and more. I don't think there's any like top tier guys, but I think there's a lot of quality players. With like Maui Noah, both Utah kids, Max Ionacker, Monroe Freeling from Georgia, Blake Miller from Clemson. More of the guys I've watched, I'm like, oh, those guys actually aren't. Dun, dun. It was fun but needed. Yeah, goodbye. OT class, yeah, it's not necessarily good, but it's not necessarily bad. It's not the strongest position group, but I would just say it's weaker up top in comparison to a lot of years. Like there's going to be offensive tackles that go top 10 in this class that probably wouldn't go top 10, I think, in a lot of other situations. they would probably be first round picks, but top 10 is pushing it. Yeah, Maui Noah is not a bad shot for Miami. He could also play guard if needed, like year one, and then be a tackle. But yeah, I do agree BPA is the way to go. Yeah. Yeah. Downs and Styles are probably my top two options at 11, just in terms of like best player available in most situations. But I do understand. I just think I think one, positional value gets a little bit overrated at time, and two, this feels like a class where like you shouldn't be too focused on positional value. Like a lot of the best players in this class are not premium positions. Arguably, the best players in this class are a safety, a linebacker, and a running back. You know, I think in a lot of classes, Caleb Downs would actually be there at 11, but I just feel like with this class, someone's gonna take that shot at him before. You watch Caleb Downs' film, and you're like, okay, this is the safest as it gets. Like this guy's going to be really good. He's like the easiest guy to scout ever, and he can do pretty much everything on the back end. Yeah. Who are the best tweeners, safeties, cornerback, linebacker type? Well, Kyle Lewis is a linebacker from Pittsburgh. He's like a safety nickel linebacker tweener. He's interesting. Traden Stukes is like a nickel corner safety hybrid. He doesn't really play linebacker, but he's kind of a hybrid. There's some other guys that play multiple spots, like Kendall Daniels from Oklahoma is built like a linebacker, like a big linebacker. Like he even plays some nickel, and I've seen him even drop back and play some safety. Sonny Styles is a former safety out playing linebacker for Ohio State. There's actually quite a bit of tweeners in this class. Pittsburgh offers you 21 and 53 for pick 11. Which player is still available to prevent you from taking? Probably Downs, Styles, and honestly, that might be it. Like, I like the other guys, but I don't know if they're stopping me from taking them. Because I still feel like I can find a good player. Maybe it's just me being overconfident, but I still feel like I can find nearly as good a player at 21, and then I also get pick 53, which I'm like, 53 another second, like I'm still finding some good solid value there. I mean, there's a world where you end up picking a better player at 21 than the guy that's picked at 11. This happens all the time. But I don't, and also it depends if some guys falls. Like if Ruben Bain is there, that's also gonna be hard to trade off of. Maybe the tackles, but I could be talked off trading back from the tackles. Same with the corners. I could be talked out of trading off of them. But yeah. Trade back a bit for Venga Ioane. Yeah, he would be. Venga Ioane would definitely be one of the better options in play, I think, in a trade back scenario. It depends where you trade back. He might even be gone if you trade back to 21. But I think there's a chance he's still there. But if you're trading back to like 18, something like that area, he's probably one of the better options. Also, who knows? Maybe one of the guys you thought you would take at 11 is still there at 18. Like that's a possibility. What about the D tackle for Army or Navy? Can't remember much, but he's like 5'11", mocked in the 4th round. Well, my mock draft today comes out at 1 Eastern. So here's a little bit of a spoiler if you guys watch it. But let's just say maybe that guy is in that mock draft. And maybe I don't get him in the 4th. Maybe I get him in the 5th. I think it was the 5th. But yeah, I am a fan of him, Keys. I am a fan. It's Navy. Wouldn't be surprised if he's one of the higher drafted Navy players. Any thoughts on Jack Strand? Could be like 6'6", 250. I have not watched his film. I think I've seen him play live, and I didn't think too much, but I wasn't really like scouting him. I like Delane, Styles, Lemon. I like all 3 of those players a lot as well. I would have all 3 of those players ranked very highly. Styles is a top 5 player for me. Lemon is close to top 5, and Delane is probably in that 10, 11, 12 range. But also, Lemon, I don't know if the Dolphins will be interested in. Lemon is wide receiver 1, in my opinion. I agree. I think 11 value-wise in this class makes sense for a Lemon. Even going a little bit earlier makes sense. I just think when you look at the Dolphins sort of receiver room, does it make sense for them necessarily? Probably not, but like if they picked Lemon, I wouldn't be mad because I think Lemon is like one of the better players in this class. It's gonna be it will be hard for me to get mad over them taking a guy that I have. You watched film on Vincent Anthony Jr.? Is he the like Duke edge? Is it Duke? I think it's Duke. I think I've seen it, or is it? It's one of the, I feel like it's one of those. I've seen clips. I have not watched like full on film. What about trading back to get Avion Terrell? He would be in play in a trade back as well. Yeah, Duke. Yeah, he's the guy that he has like really good traits, right? I've seen some from him. He seems intriguing, but I have not dug deep on the film. Recently, I was watching guys like Chris Brazzell, the Tennessee receiver, because I wanted to watch him again. And I will say, I do think Brazzell is better than like all the previous Tennessee receivers. I do think he's a solid day 2 pick. There are some question marks with his game, specifically how he fits in a different scheme. And he also does, I know people talk about the Waddle jumping thing, like jumping at the catch point. Brazzell might be even worse when it comes to jumping at the catch point. He is jumping at everything, which is kind of funny, but he is 6'5", 200 and moves pretty well. Terrell scares me. He will not support run, not very physical. Oh, I don't agree with that. Avion Terrell is small, but he will definitely hit you. That guy, I mean, that guy has as many forced fumbles as like anyone in college football. He is small and not the strongest, but I definitely think he's physical. Tennessee receivers don't pan out usually. Yeah, but you gotta follow the rule. You scout the player, not the helmet. I do hate Tennessee's offense. I hate their scheme. But you have to be able to project because not all those players are the exact same. I do think Brazzell is better than all the other ones. I think he has a better chance of projecting to the NFL. Now, is it a 100% thing? No. I think there's question marks there for sure, but getting rid of Nick Westbrook as well. Yeah, I talked about that. I just don't think I had it in the title. Too long. Ted Hurst for wide receiver too. Yep, I'm a big fan of Ted Hurst. Is that a real name? Cheese Bacillus? I think he was talking about Chase Basantis from Texas A&M. Same thing, basically. I see mocks with Zion Young going in the 3rd round. Is that true-ish? Based on film in the Senior Bowl, I would say no. Unless there's like some like character concerns, I would be surprised to be part of it, which I don't know. We are sick of tiny players. We just need good players. I don't care if they're tiny as long as they're good and dogs. You obviously don't want a team full of tiny players, but I'm definitely not against taking tiny players if they're good. To be fair, most of our best players are tiny. Aaron Brewer, maybe the smallest center in the league, if not the smallest, like second smallest, all pro second team. Devon Achane, small running back, one of the best players on the team. Jalen Waddle, smaller receiver, one of the best players on the team. Patrick Paul, huge, one of the better players on the team. So, I mean, you can find good football players in all shapes and sizes. There's also small guys that don't work out. There's big guys that don't work out. I think sometimes people get a little too caught up on like the size. Like it matters to an extent, but it only really matters if you're good or bad. sick of injury-prone players. Now that's a problem, which can come from being tiny, but not all tiny guys are injury-prone. Some big guys are also injury-prone. I mean, sometimes that plays a part of it. But talking about playmakers, our playmakers are tiny, are they not? And they're good. I mean, I would like to add some size to the position, but I don't think, Yeah, Zach Thomas was small. I remember people not liking Aaron Donald and thinking he wasn't going to make it because of his size. And then he was probably the best defensive player of his era. Jordan Brooks. No, I think Jordan Brooks is... Let me look. I think, weight-wise, I think he's fine, actually. I think he's more... I don't think he's huge, but I think he's fine. Let me go see what the measurables are. I think he's shorter, but weighs a lot in comparison to his height. He's 10th percentile, but his weight is 55 percentile, which I think is good. If you're more of that compact build at linebacker, you don't need to be tall, super tall to be a good linebacker. You kind of just need that build to hold up to the physicality, which Brooks has. So 55th percentile weight, 10th percentile height. So I would probably specify him as smaller-ish, but not tiny. Yeah, but no more. I don't know. I mean, I just think that's a bad mindset to have, personally. I don't think it's bad to, get bigger. But I just think that you limit yourself when you're like, I'm not taking any tiny players. I'm not taking anyone that's under. I think a lot of teams fall into that problem where they're like, they have these thresholds that you have to meet. You have to be this tall to be a corner. You have to have this type of there are certain thresholds you need to kind of meet, like the minimums, but I feel like people set them way too high from time to time. You need to run this 40 time, so you're not going to take a guy that's half an inch shorter than your threshold, but they're a stud. That makes no sense. Pons, Terrell. Pons round 2 versus Terrell round 1. I'd probably take Pons round 2. Debo to Fins? No thanks. I'm not really there on Debo. Romeo Dobbs? Probably just too expensive. I don't think the Dolphins can pay for people like that. We will not sign any big time. Yeah, I doubt we'll sign big time guys. I think the only big time guy they could sign is Malik Willis, just because it's the QB position and he comes from the Packers. But at the end of the day, if I had to guess, I would guess it wouldn't happen. Just because I think the Dolphins are going to be more patient. But that's the only one that really would, make sense just because it's quarterback. CBs need size and speed to tackle huge running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends. Some of them do, yeah. But there's definitely good corners in the league that are undersized. Or not not the biggest. Devin Witherspoon, right? This is a good example of big versus small. It's the Seahawks defense. There's Nick Emenwari. Actually, Nick Emenwari is an outlier. Him being that big and that athletic, he's one of the outliers. A lot of the other safeties, if you look at the top 20 RAS safeties, which is relative athletic score, almost all of them are bust or not playable in the NFL. It's 3 of them were decent players. Nick Emenwari is the best of the bunch, and he's one of the outliers, and he worked out beautifully for Seattle. But then you also have Devin Witherspoon, who was probably the best, in my opinion, the best player in the Super Bowl for Seattle. And he's undersized. His weight is 10th percentile. His height is middle of the pack, 50 percentile. But he's an undersized corner, and he plays as physical as hell. That's how you make up for it. Do they have the traits that make up for their lack of size, which a guy like Witherspoon does? And then sometimes when guys are too big, do they have the athletic traits to make up for, sometimes which bigger guys fall for is their stiffness, lack of change of direction, which, Some guys do, some guys don't. Draft him. We moved the two contract you missed from big moves. Sam Howell. I mean, I think a lot of the quarterbacks potential possibilities. Nick Emmon-Mori would have been average on defense. Well, I actually do think he would have been a good fit in Weaver's system because we run the same defense as Seattle. But I do agree that a lot of other teams could have messed up Emmon-Mori because I don't know if a lot of teams would have played him as a big nickel because he doesn't play safety. As a safety, like playing as like a deep safety, like he plays some box safety, but he's basically a big nickel for Seattle, which is definitely the best role for him. He's just in the box on the line of scrimmage, matching up. You play him on the back end, it's like that's just a waste of his skill set. He would not make nearly as much of an impact there. Yeah, I love Sonny Styles, dude. I think Sonny Styles is really good. I would love Sonny Styles. I kind of agree, Mr. Ace of Spades. I think need definitely factors in a little bit, but it will be mostly BPA. Okay, yeah. I think that's everything I wanted to talk about. Any final questions? Anything you guys want me to answer? Definitely check out the mock draft. It will be out in like 20 minutes ish. Bud Clark. I like Bud Clark. I could see him being a fit for Miami because I think the Dolphins are going to want to play some single high, and he is a kind of one of the better single high guys. Depends on where he goes. He is a bit older, I believe, of a draft prospect. I do not want to take too many old draft prospects. There's a lot of old draft prospects in this class. If we're going to take some, I don't want to take more than two. Dolphins need to be a little bit younger. This is more of a rebuild. Okay. Thank you guys for watching. Check out Max Clare. Yeah, I like Max Clare. I think you said he was the next Kittle. I don't see that at all. I do think he's solid. I just don't think he has anywhere near the blocking or physicality of Kittle. I will be interested to see how he weighs in test. I think that will be huge for him. But I do like Max Clare. He's probably one of the better tight ends in this class. But yeah, thank you guys for watching.